Greetings, the Astro 30 here yet again, and welcome back to AEL. Thank you for joining me. Now today we're going to be looking at a very simple but kind of a useful circuit that can be used in troubleshooting other audio circuits such as amplifiers. That is one of a signal tracer. Now these sort of circuits are great in conjunction with using an oscilloscope. But for those people that don't actually have an oscilloscope, being able to probe the audio path of an audio amplifier, for instance, to see where it either disappears or whatnot, a signal tracer or a small little amplifier is essential. Now, this is based on a circuit that I've used in the past before, and I think I presented this once on the channel a couple of years ago. And I did originally have it as an NE5532, but I found during testing of that original circuit it didn't perform well. The TLO72 did, and that's what I'm going with in this particular implementation. I will maybe make another video expanding on this using an NE5532, maybe like a bullhorn or megaphone type circuit, but for now we're just going to concentrate on this particular circuit. Now it's a very basic two-stage amplifier. We've got our probes coming in on the input via a blocking capacitor. 1 microfarad is fine for what type of speaker we're going to be driving. 10k volume pot goes through this 1 microfarad blocking capacitor through this voltage divider of two 100k's. The first one goes to the positive rail, to pin 3. The second one goes from pin 3 to ground. This DC biases this op-amp's input at roughly half the supply voltage, because the op-amp will not work on a single supply unless we provide a DC bias here at the input. Now the gain structure of this non-inverting amplifier is set to 101 by these two resistors, 100k and 1k respectively. Got a little bit of AC feedback coupling here with this 1 microfarad capacitor, and we'll have a halfway voltage point DC wise here at pin 1, which is then driving pin 5 of the second non-inverting amplifier stage. So that's giving the required bias at this pin as it would if you had the voltage divider. So we don't actually now need a voltage divider at this one, because this op-amp is actually providing the bias to this op-amp as well, so that's a non-issue because it's DC coupled. And it will still amplify the audio signal quite fine. Speaking of this particular op-amp stage, this is just a voltage follower with a class B set of transistors push-pull amplifier on the output, and then fed back in with a gain of 1 or unity back into pin 6, the inverting input. And this particular arrangement here will produce up to 500 milliwatts into 8 ohms before it starts to clip. I'm using BC337 and BC327 respectively as the output pair. They're 800 milliwatt dissipation transistors, so they will drive a speaker directly, but you can't really drive this to loud volumes because these transistors will get quite hot. But for the purposes of using it as a signal tracer, this is perfectly fine. So we're now decoupling any DC that might be coming off of these emitters by this 100 microfarad capacitor into the 8 ohm driver to ground. We've also got this Zobel network here at the speaker, comprising of the 10 ohm resistor and a 100 nanofarad capacitor to ground. We've also got a 470 microfarad bulk filtering capacitor on the 9 volt supply line. And I haven't shown it, but there is a 100 nanofarad capacitor that is mounted relatively close to the IC, just to help keep it stable so it doesn't go into spurious oscillations. So let's turn to the breadboard and have a look at what we got. So there's the circuit built there, and it's not the cleanest in the world, but here's my volume pot. That's the input capacitor. This one's actually a 10 microfarad. I didn't have a 1 microfarad lying around that I could grab easily because of all the craps on the bench anyway. But the rest of the components are the same as on the schematic. So I've got that 100 nanofarad capacitor directly across pins 4 and 8 of the IC, and a TLO72 installed. Volume is set around about a third, and well, maybe a quarter in this case, and I've got an 8 ohm speaker in this cup here because the cup will add extra volume to the sound of the speaker rather than it just been sitting out in open air, because it's not mounted in an enclosure. So I've got the oscillator hooked up to the input and a 1 kilohertz sine wave ready to go. It's not running, but I'll run it. As we can hear, the sound is coming out. So this is what would be happening if this was disconnected. If this was the probe input, oh, there's a signal, and then maybe down the stage of the amplifier somewhere, oh, there's a louder signal, etc. And that's the whole entire point of the circuit, is to give you an audio representation of what's going on in the circuit. I don't know if I can make it distorted, but I'll put the oscillator up max. Not really. But there should be enough gain in this amplifier stage to use as a signal tracer. So what I want to do is I want to hook up the multimeter, and we'll just measure some voltages at like pin 3, for instance, of this output, and also, well, pin 3 is the input, I mean pin 1 as the output. And well, we should see half the supply voltage, which is currently 9.1 volts. So that's 4.4 and a bit at both pin 1 and pin 3. So I've got the multimeter all tangled up with the probes, but I've got the multimeter turned onto the voltage scale. Just untangling the probes here. And I'll just put the negative probe onto the negative crocodile clip. And I'll touch the positive to pin 3. Well, we've got about 5.8. Well, if it would stay stable. Get on there. I might measure it there actually. There we go. 4.56 volts, roughly half the supply voltage. So if I now come to pin 1, we've got the same voltage. So that's now driving pin 5, which is the second non-inverting input, at half the supply voltage, which is why the op amp is working as it is. Because in a bipolar setup, we don't need that halfway voltage reference, because we already have the halfway voltage reference, which is the 0 volt rail. So you've got the positive voltage rail, you've got the 0 volt rail of ground, and you've got the negative voltage rail. But at that 0 volt ground reference point is half the supply voltage. So the op amp is seeing half the supply voltage at its inputs with reference to the ground on its input. Isn't that neat? So we can see that the circuit works, and this is only going to be a short video because, well, there's not really much to explore with this. I'm going to now show what I'm going to do with this next, and that is, as usual, route a PCB. I had a little bit of a brain fart there. So that's the 3D render of the PCB. This LED center is roughly 26 millimeters away from this 9 millimeter PCB mount pot. But that's the PCB, and I've done one thing with this particular PCB. That is, it's both double-sided, but I've also got a copper ground plane on the top layer, which connects all the grounds together, but it also adds like shield grounding around all the pins of everything else here to try and keep any possibilities of oscillations down. However, in the schematic it says NE5532. It should be changed to TLO72, but regardless, it functions better with a TLO72 because it's a JFET input versus the NE5532, which has clamping diodes on the input. Well, the two transistors back to back acting as diodes. So this is a look at the redrawn schematic in KiCad, because I use net lists now to make PCBs, so you have to draw a schematic first. It makes routing the PCB a hell of a lot easier. Not much has changed between here and the whiteboard, so we can just, pretty much say it's the same. The only difference is I've got an LED in here, just indicating that the thing's on. But yeah, the thing works. It does what it says on the tin. So all I have to do now is have this manufactured as a PCB, and I can revisit this in the future because someone may find this project useful and may want the printed circuit board. But there's a problem with that at the moment with PCB Way is they're due to an internal restructuring, corporate restructuring. PayPal is not available as a payment method for some reason. You either have to do a bank transfer or credit card payment. Totally annoying. And it's been like that for the last 4 days. I did speak to the sales representative and they said it should be hopefully fixed in the next couple of days. Well, that was 4 days ago and it's still currently unavailable. As we see there, due to internal corporate restructuring, PayPal is currently not available as a payment method on PCB Way. We sincerely apologise for any inconvenience this may cause. During this period, please complete your payment using one of the following methods: bank transfer or Payoneer. Both of those options are a little bit of a pain in the ass for the most of us. I don't like doing bank transfers to businesses online because, well, PayPal's been around for God knows how long, the last 20 years or so, and has become the accepted online method of paying for things. And yeah, PCB Way is just doing God knows what. So yeah, that's my little signal tracer circuit. This particular amplifier that I've got here can be used for anything, such as the speaker amplifier for a pocket AM radio or even an AM FM radio type thing. You could use the LM386, yes, but as it's been previously stated by myself, they can be awfully difficult to tame. They have the tendency to oscillate and motorboat readily. The PCB layout for an LM386 amplifier has to be extremely careful or it can go into oscillation, especially when you're using the 200 gain boost method. However, this has a gain of 101, which should be enough for most testing purposes. And I hope somebody found this video interesting. I enjoyed presenting it, and I hope to see you in the next one. I'm the Astro 30, and if you enjoyed this video, please remember to go down below, like, comment and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And as always, this is the Astro 30 saying see ya, thanks for watching, have a great day.